Hey, and welcome everybody. Come on in and grab a seat at the bar. I'm Michael Mowbray. I'm your photo happy hour bartender. And today, in honor of Thanksgiving, I'm mixing up cranberry gin and tonics. Doesn't that sound refreshing? It does. Stay tuned for the recipe at the end of the podcast. Joining me today are Dan Freevault and Carl Kaler, my fellow bartenders, my shakers of whatever. Shake it up, man.
Shake it up. Are those come with
Chicken
gravy,
nuts.
gravy ice cubes with that cranberry?
Yes. Yeah, and not like the real cranberries, but the in the canned slice
Oh,
stuff that's got like the
yeah.
Yeah. Like
you slice
toothpaste.
up, throw it into a shaker. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, gelatinous
Yes.
Gelatinous
can-shaped
goo.
cranberries.
Which,
Yes.
by the way, gelatinous goo was always going to be the name of my band.
Ooh.
You guys remember what was that? What was that? Guitar Hero. Did you ever play Guitar Hero
Yes.
on the PlayStation? That was
No.
my band name on there. Was gelatinous goo, and everybody called us the G Goos.
Lonely is the night.
Surrender. My first song I ever got 100% on was Surrender. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
That was my reference to Couples Retreat. So
Oh yeah.
Yep. Oh wait, reference. Hold on.
Wait. It's Stanley with a C.
I don't take tips, but I do accept smiles.
Oh wow.
You are the ass. Anyway.
I'm gonna be the best ass ever. Anyways, what
Yes.
if it's your first time joining us here?
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, again, if it's your first time joining us here, this is pretty much what the entire show is about. We are three professional photographers who have been around for a while and friends for a long time, and we like to get together and have a few drinks. Hold the drinks up. This is for the video. Yay. Having a little Balvenie, 12-year-old Doublewood Scotch. There we go. And the more we drink, the more we know, and we lay down some photography knowledge and talk about topics and a lot of other stuff too. So
Lots of movie references.
lots of movie references too.
Because
So
I watch a lot of movies.
Sometimes
can,
sitcoms.
you know what I watched last night that was actually pretty good. I'm going to butcher the name because I can't remember what it was, but was it Shang-Chi and the Legend of the
watched-
Ten Rings?
We watched it 2 nights ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that.
The martial
good.
arts in that,
It was
it's freaking
phenomenal.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I've
Acting.
seen, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, all that kind of stuff. I've seen Crouching Tiger and Hidden Pooh as well. But
Is that? I don't. Yeah, let's not go there.
yeah, but yeah, that's real. I mean, that was a good flick. It was enjoyable.
Yeah. Yep. The acting was kind of sometimes, but the action was phenomenal. Good gosh.
Oh gosh, yeah, and the story was kind of fun too. I mean, there's a lot of plot holes, many plot holes, but hey, it was popcorn kind of movie.
You guys are really selling me on this.
By
I
the
don't
way,
know.
and there was 2, not just one, but 2 different outtakes at the end of or during the credits. Did you watch?
Oh,
all the
I didn't
credits?
watch the whole credits.
Ooh.
Oh
you
yeah,
gotta-
'cause it wrapped up about 9:00, and Lisa likes to watch the 9:00 news. Yeah, we're old.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
gotta continue because it actually makes things make a lot more sense coming up, and then you go to the end, and it's a whole twist for the second set of outtakes after the credits are done. So
Yeah,
go back and do it.
It's a Marvel movie. I knew that there was going to be stuff at the end of the
Yeah.
credits, but it's like the local news is on.
There's gonna be more. You watch.
Yeah. It's going to be the
Sister's
same
gonna-
thing they said last night.
Yeah.
I call it the olds. They always have like the same stories that they had like the night before. I'm like, is there ever anything that's new? I don't know. Oh, we got to see the weather. And it's like, yeah, I got AccuWeather on my phone. You want to know what's going to be tomorrow? I'll tell you what the temperature is right now. I'll tell you what the temperature is going to be in an hour.
It's amazing.
Anyway,
Anyways.
Amazing.
on that note, the Photo Happy Hour is sponsored in part by Red Curl Creative, copywriting services for photographers and wedding professionals. Like that segue? Kim from Red
Yes.
Curl Creative speaks your language. Save $97 on Kim's Write Better Words course when you use the discount code HAPPY HOUR, all caps, HAPPYHOUR, And I know she's already scheduling booking into 2022 as she is booked for the rest of 2021. So, hey, I'm taking full credit as this podcast is, really driving business there. So she should be a sponsor all the time.
Absolutely.
All right. So
Hey,
we
that's
have
a good
topics.
segue. That's a good segue into our topic today, though.
It is. A very good
is.
segue. See, that's what I was setting myself up for.
Good
That's
job.
a better
Top
segue than
notch.
your last segue. So
You know what? Again, totally. Well, I got a little script here, but most of it's unscripted. So topic for today is here are some things that you guys really should be thinking about or doing or both for yourself, for your business before the end of the year, because do not wait until December 30th to do some of these things. Some things to be thinking about. And one thing is health insurance. If you're doing any of the Obamacare, the healthcare.gov, the ACA, whatever the hell that thing's called. I don't know if you've signed up for it before or if you're renewing or whatever, but they changed a lot with the whole COVID thing back in April. They really put in some big credits for some of the plans. So a lot of the costs came down. So if you haven't been getting health care, you might want to check it out because it might actually be a little bit more affordable. One other thing I noticed too is that they used to have a cliff based on income. So if you made, I can't remember what it was like $87,000 joint whatever a year, is like once you get beyond that, all of a sudden what they'll contribute towards your healthcare premium goes up quite a bit. It's actually more of a graduated scale now. So, and I think that's really brought the monthly cost down on a lot of plans. So, so something to think about, something to check out. Get yourself some health insurance. Yeah.
health insurance.
Health. And then just check your state too. I know Michigan just came up or just passed, and I didn't look too close because my wife works outside the studio and we're on her insurance. But I did see something about sole proprietors and small businesses, something being passed as somewhat of a group rate. So that's something to really look at too, because it might be a lot more affordable than what our insurance was before as well. So check from, depending on what state you're in, see what's new. A lot of things have been changing. So maybe there's something that could be more beneficial to you.
Or I just got back from Mexico and there's a pharmacy like on every corner. It's like the Starbucks of down there. You can get anything you want. I'm not recommending that. But yes, there is a pharmacy every 2 blocks.
You can beach in Jamaica too.
Well, yeah.
You can get braids and beads through your hair as well as health insurance.
You need sunglasses and dental work. I got you covered. Let's go behind the alley here.
Hey.
Along those lines, pay your retirement. I mean, you should be doing this all year long anyway. Take a little bit of money, at least be putting it towards retirement. Take a look at your 401k or your SEP or your Roth or whatever. Talk to your financial planner. Talk to your accountant. Lisa and I were taking a look at money, and it's like we realized, we really should throw a big chunk into her 401k, and she can, and we can. So we're gonna like max it out as much as we can, and through the end of the year, and maybe do that next year too, because that's going to make a big difference. Because you start getting different taxing things, and pay yourself first rather than pay the government.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's the check I hate writing, either one of them, but at least some of that will come back to me when I retire. But yeah, I have a great financial planner. It's like 401k, profit sharing, cash balance. Like there's so many different opportunities to take advantage of.
And a lot
I
of
shouldn't even say take advantage of.
Well, yeah, take advantage of it. Yeah.
It's I mean, it's
appropriate.
it's legal. It's But yeah, some people don't think about that, or like for many years, when you're in a company, it just kind of comes out, and then when you're in business, you don't think of having it come out, but you can, and you can even borrow against it if you need to. You can take out up to $50,000, and you have to pay it back within 5 years, and pay with interest, but you're paying the interest and you're getting the interest instead of taking a loan from a bank. So yeah, there's a lot of, and we are not accountants or financial advisors, so do not take our advice as legal. What's the term? What's that phrase they always say? Something like that, right?
And I didn't even stay in the Holiday Inn Express, so just don't trust what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And again,
consult with a professional. Yes.
And hopefully you have an accountant, because it all depends on how your business is set up, what your tax situation is. If you're a sole proprietor versus
S corp, C
corp, or C corp. I've got a C corp, so that changes a lot of things.
And you can be an corp. You can be an LLC, but still be taxed as an S corp. So it's pretty easy for them to switch things around, and
finagle.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I'm going to probably look at with my accountant here shortly is should I switch back to an S corp, because some of the reasons why we became C corp were we were paying like $1,700 a month for health insurance, and we're in a Nevada C corp. That's like a direct write down, and to have the business do it, whereas in other states it's not necessarily. So that was one of the reasons why I was in Nevada C corp. But anyway, things change. So in other words, things change. Keep checking on it. So
yes, and buy Bitcoin. No, I have no clue. I don't know.
Or what is that? I have we should do an episode on NFTs.
Oh
NFTs
yes,
NFTs in Bitcoin, and then just make shit up, because I know absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah.
The whole NFT thing makes no. I think it stands for no effing
clue.
Something. I can't come up with anything for the T, but anyway.
No effing time.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched this on
about this stuff. Yeah,
I watched like several things on Netflix or Amazon Prime, whatever, on Bitcoin. I'm like, I'm more confused watching this than before. So yeah.
And I used to. I mean, my very first job coming out of college was I sold radio advertising, so I was literally selling air, and that made a lot more sense than Bitcoin and NFTs. I mean, that doesn't make any sense at all. Other stuff to take a look at. Start pulling together samples for your studio. So things to put on the wall, whatever, refresh all that stuff. Because why?
Why not?
Why not? Well, you might be working on your final orders for the year, or still shooting and getting stuff, and when you get a chance, start to pull your best images. And a lot of labs will do big sales in Q1, because fourth quarter they're busy and they can't fulfill all the orders on time. We get past January 1st, and all of a sudden, who's sending them orders? So they'll start doing sales on wall portraits or things like that.
And sometimes if you just contact your lab in the first quarter and say, hey, I want to get these samples done, they'll give you 25% off or something, instead of trying to wait for their sales. They'll be like, sure, you're going to send a bunch of things in, or if you are pulling, while you're placing orders, like you said, and you're pulling some of your favorite images, what I tend to do is make a folder throughout the year and throw my favorite images in. That way, when it comes time for samples and to update my website, freshen up that, or even schedule social media posts, I have my favorite ones like all in a folder. I don't have to go back to every folder and like look at, what's my favorite images? Or we're looking at print comp, like, okay, what images? They're all kind of in that folder. And the only thing is like, you ever get this, like, this is awesome. This is awesome. And then January comes around and you're like, I'm going to pull images for print comp or for samples. And I look at them like, what was I thinking?
Nope.
These all suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or or even worse, be sitting in the judge's chair and one of those things that you pulled and threw up comes through in your panel, and of course you have to DQ yourself, but you look at it come up and you're like, oh, that sucks.
Why did I enter that?
Why did I enter that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
That happened to me with the artist panel this year. I threw 2 last minute ones and I'm like, you want to send them in? I'm like, yeah, these might go. And they came up. I'm like, no.
No, probably not.
I created this and I wouldn't merit it.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. It's funny you say that though, because that's how different it is sitting in that chair. You know, when you look at your work here in the computer, or you look at it in physical print, and you're like, oh wow, we really rocked this. And then, but you sit in that chair on that panel, and it's a whole different view of imagery that comes up in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, yeah, and
world, people.
It's different world, but I think you hit on something, or a light bulb went off in my head, which, like, when you're in the heat of, yeah, it hurt, yes, in the heat of the moment, or like I should say the heat of the moment, but when you're doing sessions and you're having a great summer and you're interacting and you make these connections with everything, and it's like the session was cool, or this happened or that happened, like you're so in tune with that's what makes the images more special to yourself. Then emotion. After that time goes by, the emotion kind of disconnects, or even worse, as a judge, as you guys know, or like even when we've mentored people, like don't pick an image based on emotion, because the judge has no recollection of that story. There's nothing vested in it. And so maybe that's why when I look back at stuff, I'm like, that's a cool image. It's not that good, or it's not print comp worthy, but man, we had a great time, and that, or they had a great order and they were so much fun to work with. Like all those variables, a judge doesn't know any of that. So, and that doesn't take away from the imagery. It's just a different game, a different animal. So kind of keep that in mind when picking images.
You hit on something important there, though, that folder, Dan. I used to, and I guess I didn't this year because I had too many things going on, but I had a folder that was for the same type of thing, but also very important, by the way, and you shouldn't just wait till the end of the year, but to renew your website. So, those images in that folder that come from all your sessions, you should be grabbing from those, and every month be putting them, putting different stuff up on your website. For the senior gallery, or for your families or your children or whatever, but freshen that sucker up, and it'll be a little bit more lively for people to look at over and over again.
It's on my to-do list for Monday. As a matter of fact, to take best of senior stuff and start writing blog posts and just schedule them out for the next month or so.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Both blog posts and just social media. Like talk about the session, talk about that excitement, and post it on social media, because I think nowadays more people are booking off of social media than going to your website. I think having a freshened up, social media platform is more valuable than a freshened up website. Like you could have a one-page website and and get by, or not even have a website. Some people don't even have websites, I don't recommend that.
It's frightening.
Yeah.
I don't either, because, hey, you could lose your Instagram account tomorrow.
Yes, you should. And with Facebook going down, a couple months ago or a month and a half ago for 4 or 5 hours, it's like all those people are like freaking out. Not only that, I'm in a mastermind group, and certain people weren't even able to log in to certain accounts, because how when you subscribe to something and you can make your account or log in with Facebook. Well, they were saying, and I never do that, log in with Facebook. Yeah, it's easier, but I never do that. Only because, I don't know, I just never do it. Now I'm glad I never do it, because if Facebook is down, they couldn't even reset their password, and they were trying to do stuff. They couldn't even log into their accounts. They were out of not only Facebook, but every account that was attached to Facebook with their login. I was like, wow.
Plus, I didn't want Zuckerberg to have all this other power over me.
Maybe
and
that's why I
tracking
never
all
do
the
it.
stuff through the
Yeah.
other
It's like,
sites.
yeah.
I just
That's why. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
that is why I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously,
No.
yeah. That's I mean
Yeah.
that's here's an interesting thought on that topic though. One thing I've noticed because I started to follow like a bunch of the bigger influencers, kind of like in the like the senior age range. You know, like there's like well, she's a woman, I guess. I started following her, and she's like. It's gonna sound weird now that I think about it. When I started following her when she was like 16, but she had like 16 million followers, and I'm like, I just want to see what they're
Wow.
doing
Oh yeah.
to get that many followers. You know, and it's like makeup stuff and things like that. But here's one thing: one of the biggest things I gleaned from like following some influencers, they go back to the well all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They will repost stuff and repost stuff. And
Repurpose.
it's
Yeah.
like, you know, yeah, and it'd be like, you know, maybe they might have posted this 3 months ago. They'll post it again. So what I gleaned from that is just because you posted an image, you know, from a session, doesn't mean you can't repost that or something else from that session 3 months from now. You know, because it might be fresh to everybody looking at it that day.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the things I learned from, or one of the things I picked up from Sync last year, Sync conference, is when I used to post something, I would just kind of have it set up to filter to all my social media platforms just to be easy. It's like I post here, it goes to Twitter, it goes to my Facebook page, it goes to my business Facebook page, it goes to Tumblr, it goes to everywhere, right? But then that goes to everywhere at that moment in time.
Same
The better
time.
thing to do is, on Monday, let's say you post that image to Instagram. On Tuesday, you post that same image to Twitter. On Wednesday, you do a slideshow and put it from Animoto and put it on YouTube. Just boom, boom,
Yep.
boom, or kind of rotate it. Or then you do your blog post, or you do this. Like you spread it out because every day a different time. You're catching a different group of people.
audience has seen it.
And worst case is the person sees it every single day of the week. That's not a bad thing, right? Because you have to hit the people
No.
over the head like 20 times before they make a buying decision anyways. So I thought that was good information. I think it was from
that's fantastic.
Gina Golan, who
It was good advice.
good advice. I'll give her credit, even though I'm not sure if it was her or not.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Well, we'll give her credit.
We'll give her credit. She's good at what she does. She lays the law down. She's got good information. So she was also in the Peak Senior Summit. So shout out to her for that. So she has to be good because I picked her to be part of this Peak Senior Summit. Excellent.
And I think the first time I met her was at Sync, so that was actually going to tie. See, I'm doing good segues now.
I was going to
That's gonna be
segue
my
too,
next
but I'll
thing.
let you segue from there.
I'll segue, and then you can segue off of my segue, and then we'll be like riding segues through the mall. Anyway,
Ooh. Like Paul
Ball
Bart. Am I?
yes, Paul Blart, Ball Cup.
But yeah.
I can't remember what I was going to say now. Anyway,
Sync.
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 So a lot of the best conferences and best in-person photo education happenings are in the first 3-4 months of the year.
Yeah.
Now is the time to start taking a look at those and maybe schedule a
Air
little break
fare.
for yourself, a chance to sharpen your saw. There's your 7 highly effective habits of people who do stuff.
Saw sharpening?
Yeah, sharpen the saw was always that. Do you guys not know sharpen the saw?
No.
Don't make me go into sharpen the saw. Oh, that's a classic. This is 7 habits of highly effective people, but it's one of them was this is attributed to Abraham Lincoln. It's like, what's the first thing you would do if I gave you 5 minutes to saw down this tree? And his response was, I'd sharpen the saw. So. Whereas
like
everybody else just goes and just I like that. People on the audio can't see what I'm doing. That's a rusty saw.
So the first thing you do is have sex, and then you go and you cut the tree down. Is that what that was? Oh.
I'm not going to get
Anyway,
involved with that one.
you sharpen the saw, and you need to do that for yourself. I mean, before you're going to
Is that what you
going
kids
to,
are
like,
calling
any-
it these days?
sharpening the saw, you bet. Don't get me going. But yeah, before you go to do any like major endeavor, any big project or whatever, take a few moments and plan it and make sure you got all your ducks in a row. And that's one of the nice things about photo education, whether it's in person, like one of the things I'm going to talk about here, is going to Sync, which I think is one of the best conferences out there in terms of not only knowledge is laid down, but a chance to network. And you learn just as much sometimes just from networking with people who are like you or who aren't like you but are in the same business, so you can maybe pull some other things from them. See vendors like Molite. And what I like about it is being up here in the Great White North, where the wind chill today brought it down to 18 degrees. It's in Destin, Florida in February, so I like to go down there. And if you want to check out Sync, it's Sync Rocks, SYNCROCKS.com. You can save $50 with the code MOLITE22. Haha, I got my code out there.
I heard that.
$50, MOLITE22. There you go.
Moonlight 22, yes.
And you can see me, and you can see Dan, and you can see Carl.
You see Carl.
Yeah.
And you can see Gina, even though last year I kept introducing her as Jenna, and she didn't correct me. And then
I always thought it
finally
was
someone
Jenna too, so. Yeah.
Right, because it's with a J, and they're like, no, it's Gina. I'm like, what? Oh,
It's a J
why
and
didn't you tell me?
Some N and some.
Yeah.
At least you didn't call her Jesus for a whole week.
Yeah. That's true.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a funny story, though.
Yeah, when I taught at Texas school, too, I was like, 30 names, and I was like, ooh, help me here, help me here. But by the end of the week, I had them down, but yeah. Fujiko.
Hey, Fujiko's great. She's come.
She's awesome. Yeah, she has.
A long way. I am so.
But
proud
when
of
I
her.
first looked at that name, I'm like, help me out. Somebody help me. I mean,
that one I could have helped you with.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. So, and speaking of education, education is tax deductible.
Ooh.
Or Carl mentioned booking your flights and everything. So that's a tax deduction, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So book those things now.
Some of those stuff.
Because it's education, it's part of education. So book those things now. And I have different things coming up virtually. My senior boot camp, my SU Insiders membership. I have Black Friday sales coming up for products. Products fall under education. So stay tuned for that.
That's right.
See what good things are going to be discounted.
So if you need to spend some money before the end of the year, spend it on things that are going to help you for next year, like products, education.
I'm looking at computers. I'm like, every year, I'm like, now, except for remember that one year, guys, I bought that computer for a tax deduction.
Yeah,
and it
you didn't even take it out of the box for 2 years. I remember going to your place and going, is that
it was a year. It wasn't 2 years.
All right.
Because I'm one of these guys. You always hear people complaining, which is happening. I see it every day. Oh, I upgraded to so and so, and now this isn't working. That isn't working. So I'm always like, I'm not upgrading before Christmas. I gotta get all the Christmas orders out, right? And then I'll worry about it. Well, then I start print comp, like working on that. Oh, I gotta wait because I have all my actions. I have everything in place. And then all of a sudden I start teaching, and then I'm at running here, running there, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, I'm now starting the beginning of the year. I don't want to mess with this again because now I'm starting my senior season. So it was almost a year, or it was a year before I'm like, oh, I guess I should bust this out of the box and use it. Sad.
That's how I got my latest version of Photoshop. Was that computer died, so I had to.
Sometimes you're forced to do it.
And
yeah.
It's like.
I think that's what happened to me.
Everything else now.
My graphics card went out. I'm like, well, I guess I'll use that new computer that I have sitting here.
A backup. It's just they're collecting dust.
It's just a backup,
generator, just in case. something else that,
Yeah.
and again, check with your accountant in your state, but take care of yourself too. And a lot of times it's tax deductible, like joining the Y or some kind of workout area, um, and get some exercise in. Sometimes that's a lot. Look at that. The Peloton
Peloton.
guy is like
I'm
flexing there for
flexing,
us.
flexing the Peloton.
There you go.
Hit me up if you want a code for $100 off.
There you
That
go.
helps me get this Peloton gear because you get $100 off and I get $100
Towards
towards
sweatshirts and stuff.
towards gear. Yes.
Ooh.
There you go. But that's a lot of times it's tax deductible too. It's part of. I mean, think about it. Big corporations, they have corporate.
Wellness programs.
Yeah. Why
Yes.
can't we? So, but check with your accountant, make sure it's all cool and dandy. But I know our Y stuff gets written off, and actually Y is a donation. So either way, it's a write off for us. But take care of yourself too. Why not, eh?
It's a write-off. You don't even know what a write-off
It
is.
No,
It's a write-off.
it's a write off.
Write it off.
It's a write-off.
Write it off. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So that's the Seinfeld version. But if
fold
you
it
guys, have you guys watched
Oh,
the
wait.
the Schitt's Creek version of the
That's what I was
write-off?
just talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The folded in. That one is even better.
That episode was. What do you mean by you just fold it in, David? Just fold it in.
Folded in.
Fold what in?
Can my creams be written off? Yes.
They write off dry cleaning, and they write off new clothing or wardrobe purchases and everything else. I mean, I remember back when I did a lot of your Molite gear. I mean, well, not your gear, but the garb, absolutely.
Garb.
When I did a lot of weddings, purchased a couple tuxedos for each year, and they're all part of your uniform. I mean, that's part of your business. So a lot of your wardrobe can get written off too. So go to the gym, work out, lose weight, get a new wardrobe, write the whole sucker off. It's gonna be great.
Can I write off pizzas and cupcakes? That's what I want to know.
Absolutely not. No, not anymore.
Absolutely not.
Staff meetings.
Staff
We're
meeting.
bringing
They're
food
gifts.
in for staff meetings.
They're
Yeah.
gifts.
Right.
Well, and that's that is another thing. Like if you're doing gift cards or something,
Yeah.
to your top clients, that was a great time. Obviously,
Ooh,
you can send out cards.
that
You
reminds
can
me.
do gift certificates. I know I've done in the
Gotta do
past
that.
Starbucks gift cards to my high-end clients and accordion books because I hated designing those darn little things, but they're cool and they're great little marketing pieces. They're like a business card that they come in groups of 3, so mom can
It's
get
like
one,
what,
dad can get one.
$30 for 3 of them, maybe.
Yeah.
Or 25.
Grandma
It
can
was-
have
wasn't
one.
much.
It was
Yeah.
less than that. It's like,
Yeah, so
it's like 12 or $15 for 3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, so those are cool little items, and they already have their images. For me, at least, the top clients always get an album, and they get at least 30 images in their album. So I know which ones are their favorites. I can easily design it and put it in there instead of them trying to pick the images and it doesn't fit this way because this one's vertical and that one's horizontal. And
I'll pick it.
I'll just pick it and give it to them,
Yes.
and
Yep.
they'll love it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Then it's not so
So-
bad to design. It's like the other. I feel you on the other way. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That product
picking-
disappeared a few years ago because of that. I'm like, I'm not doing these anymore. I don't care how much I charge for them.
Right. That's usually it. Well, I did that too. I just ordered a senior standout, which is like the image blocks from White House.
We were
And
just talking about that last night when you weren't here.
oh yeah, and I used to hate designing them, but then now I do them differently, and they're a lot easier to design. I don't do the full wrap
Yeah.
on them. I just do the texture on the outside because otherwise the squares, by the time you crop in and then you have to wrap around. So I jacked the price on them because I hated doing them and people were still buying them. So then I was like, one day I was like what if I just did a texture around here? And I called White House. I'm like, how exact are your templates? Because I didn't want, a little bit of that texture bleeding over.
Yeah.
And actually, no, I take that back. What I did is I put like 2 or 3 pixels bleed, so it could be off. And White House called me and said, you're kind of off a little bit. I'm like, well, I put bleed in there, which I'm from the printing industry. So if you don't know what bleed is, it's a little bit extra because
all the way to the edge, guys. All the way to the edge.
Things aren't always right. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, it's exact. I'm like, it's exact? I didn't believe them. They're like, oh yeah, and so I redid it, uploaded it, got it in. I'm like, yeah, it's exact. Like there's no need to add bleed.
Wow.
That's the one product
That even
I get
rhymes.
from White House. The one product. One. Yeah, I do these storyboards. They're 25 by 22.
Yeah.
And they've got 4 images. One big one's like 11 by 17, and then like 3, I think 6 by 6, something like that. 5 by 5, I think, squares. Yeah, template. Just everything else is like a texture overlay or whatever on the edges and everything, and just pop them in the template. I got PSDs and flatten them and send it in.
We tried selling those things here for a couple of years, and nobody wanted them. I was telling Michael last night when we were on our podcast before this podcast, because we were on the wrong day, both of us.
Yeah. So who was right? I don't know.
I don't know.
2 versus 1.
Two
It's
to
a
one.
democracy.
But I couldn't. We didn't sell one. They just it's not a product for this area. Nobody wanted it.
$895.
Oh, geez, yeah. Nobody wanted it. So I gave the sample away to the person that I used in the sample, and we haven't promoted it since.
Yeah, that's
So,
weird
it's
because
too
you guys
bad.
tried to talk me into those like float wraps.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that still sells here.
I brought that in for a year. I was like, nobody. They were all like, what? No, we don't want that. Okay.
Just
Yeah,
different
I sell those.
glitches.
Yeah, I sell those all the time.
Mm-hmm. Those
In
and
fact-
gallery wraps.
Yeah.
Gallery wraps, yeah. Float wraps,
Well,
no. Gallery wraps. Yeah.
I think the reason why I sell them is because people don't want just prints and have to get it framed. And then the gallery wraps are the highest priced product, portrait-wise.
Right.
And so these fall right in between. So if people are a little...
Yeah.
I always try and sell them on the gallery wrap, but if they're kind of like, ooh, that's a little bit more than I anticipated, they can do a float wrap. It has a similar look without the cost of a gallery wrap. So I think that's why.
Here's a side tangent on that. A tip I'm going to give people is I price my gallery wrap canvas, my metals, my HD metals, and my wood blocks. Like you can do, it's almost like a gallery wrap canvas, but it's the wood.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I price them all the same.
My float wraps are the same. Yep.
I base it on which one of those costs me the most, and I build the pricing based on that. So
Yep.
then they can go, well, see, so you don't get that hemming and hawing. And I'm not responding to you, Dan. I'm just telling other people this.
Yeah, right.
Because then you take that decision out of the equation. It's like, which one do you like better? Do you like the metal, the canvas, or do you like this wood? They're all the same price.
Yeah.
I used to do that, but then I stopped doing that. Only because the cost of goods on the gallery wraps were so much more. So, and people weren't, I would tell them, I'm not trying to upsell you. Like, I just want to lead you in a direction that's going to be the best for your image. Because I'm like, I don't think that would look good on a metal. I think that would look better on a canvas.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Right. I do the same thing. Yeah.
Right. So now I do the same thing. I'm just saying, and they're not questioning it. It's like if they, okay, I like the canvas, or I'll be like, I think this will look great at canvas. They're like, okay, throw the canvas in. But on the rare occasion when they see their total at the end and say like, I'm like, well, if you did a float, you could save $100. They're like, okay, maybe we'll switch it to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that works good for a fallback position.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, either way it works, you know. And the other thing is I used to have my portraits come framed because then that bumped that price closer. Cost of good was wise too. But people were like, "Oh, they come and pick it up. This came in a frame." Like I didn't even know that.
Surprise!
So, yeah,
Surprise.
yeah.
It's like we were in a conversation with it was in the messenger group that you dropped out of, Dan, because you were getting too many notifications. But anyway, and Gary Box was talking about how many frames he sells and tens of thousands of dollars of frames, and I replied, I sold a frame last year.
Yes.
It was very nice. A frame. And it was.
Oh
it
my
was
God.
very nice. But that's
nice.
actually my goal. Is I actually when I was cleaning up my office and to make a moving things around, I threw out all my frame samples. They're gone.
Oh yeah, I did that years ago.
Yeah.
Although I did sell 3 frames this year, and no, 4 frames, because now with the gallery right from White House, the gallery wraps with the frame, I have a sample of that.
Yeah.
And I always loved just the gallery wraps being clean. But I got one when I taught at Sync.
Yeah.
They said a sample that was framed. I'm like, man, this is slick.
Sharp. It is.
So then I ordered one up as a sample, and now I sell it. I'm like, you want to throw a frame on that? And I upgraded a couple people with the larger albums this year. And so,
nice.
I've been like...
Which albums? What do you mean the larger? The 11x14s or the
10x10.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I do that anyhow. But okay, but they have the 11x14 now, so you can have a 28-inch spread. And I'm like, whoo, this is kind of fun.
That's something I might be adding in this year. I've been doing 10x10s, and I think I kind of want something that can allow me to go more panoramic
and narrow. Yeah,
because that's usually the stunning image is almost always a panoramic.
Absolutely.
And the Fineo albums were pretty cool. They had that panel that folded, the opposite way, and that was always like for weddings. That was pretty
weddings.
Slick.
That was slick.
Yeah.
Yep.
So speaking of which, let's go down this tangent quick. We're going down different things, but when I mentor some people, what I've noticed is a lot of people are doing like albums that are too similar. They'll have and too many options. They'll have like a 5x5 and an 8x8 and a 10x10. It's like, no, I have 3 choices. One is an image book, which is it's a 5x7 by Rabound. It's a piece of junk, basically. Yep. That just makes the center one look better, which is an 8x8 press printed album.
Yep.
And then you have the 10x10 wedding album, so there's a big jump. It goes from $500 to $1,295 to $2,500.
Yeah.
You have to give big chunks, and you have to have that Whopper album to make those other ones. You have to have the Whopper album and kind of the crummy one to make the middle one look awesome. And the cost of goods on the middle one's $78, and I sell it for $1,295.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now it's 80.
And that's the Creative Collection price.
Yeah.
And now it's what?
It went up a little bit. The price.
Oh, yeah.
Book, but
Not
we'll
much.
get into that later. Yeah.
80.
Not too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It depends when you order.
So as a percent, as long as you're pricing it like Dan is as a percent.
It doesn't. Yeah, it won't matter right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is something to think about for next year and to get on before this year is over. Michael already said it, change your prices, but we definitely, and especially this year, check with your suppliers because prices are going up.
Yes.
Big time.
Exactly.
Your
So
shipping,
you check your cost of goods.
Cost of goods is going way up. It's not a normal year of price increases that we're going to have to look at. We're going to have to take other things into consideration. So
if you've
make
been
sure you
dragging
check
your
that.
feet on pricing, all 3 of us are giving you the green light to just raise them.
Raise
Raise
them.
them.
25% across the board. You guys okay with that?
Inflation overall in the economy is running about 6% right now.
Just the inflation
So you should
part.
you need to increase your prices by 6% at least.
Minimum.
And talking of things to do, in my opinion, that should be the number one thing that you do. The minute you get through the holiday season is analyze your pricing. You should have some sort of CRM, some sort of software that you can run reports, because if you're like me, it's like, oh man, I didn't sell very many of XYZ, and I run a report. Oh, I did. I sold, or don't underestimate the power of, or the profit in 5x7s,
Yeah.
and don't feel like you need to, like, I think when we talk raising prices, like we need to jack everything up $100. It's like, if you raise your 8x10 price by $5, but you're selling a shit ton of 5x7s,
It's a technical
that's
term.
a lot of, yes, that's a lot of money,
Yes.
or if you raise a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit there, it all adds up. So like really knowing your numbers and your cost of goods and analyzing that in the slower time, which I also bring up tip number 2 with this is take time, like book a hotel room, even if it's within your city or an hour away, go there with your spouse or whatever and just disconnect from everything and take time and do that during the day and then have a nice meal at night. Like, but if you just try and do it at home,
Do what during the day? What are you trying to say what you should do during the day?
Prices, Michael.
sharpen
Prices.
sharpen the saw.
Exactly. Ride the
And
Segway.
It came back around. I knew it. I knew it.
That's a good time to take a quick break here, and we'll hear a word from our sponsor and be right back. And we're back.
You sounded so excited with that. Word from our sponsor.
Yes.
And we're back. Yeah, that was
we're
much
back.
more exciting.
It was.
So actually, I don't know. We have a whole lot more to cover, but that's all good stuff. Lots of good stuff.
I think
talk,
it's the
folks.
most
Good talk.
valuable information we've given in like the last 10 podcasts.
Probably.
Probably.
It's
Not
definitely
10,
the most
which-
valuable information we've given in the last 2 months.
Yes,
Yes.
because we haven't.
It's
we've
probably
only
the
done
only
one.
information we've given in the last 2 months. Actually, we did 2. We've done 2 since we had our little hiatus.
Yeah.
Hiatus. That's a nice word. I like that
So,
word.
I like that word.
Hiatus.
That word always
It is.
freaked me out.
It also makes me think of a hiatal hernia. So,
Yeah.
which
It's
doesn't
the
sound like something
hyenas
I'd want.
in the African desert.
Hyenas. That's the thing.
Oh,
Dogs
Oh.
and stuff. I don't know.
good friend of ours just got back. I guess she's been back for a couple of weeks from an African safari, and amazing. I should show you her work sometime. Amazing wildlife photographer. She gets up every morning and photographs birds, like in Horicon Wildlife Preserve, whatever. But she went to Africa, and man, the stuff that she shot was just incredible. Hyenas and baby cheetahs and all that kind of stuff. So, cool things. Anyway, I'm going to give the drink of the week. So here's the recipe
drink
for
of the week.
So it's a cranberry gin and tonic, which again, you can use regular cranberries, or you can do the old school way and do the canned cranberry.
Yeah.
Here are your ingredients: ice, 3 lime slices, and it says divided. I don't know how you're going to divide 3 lime slices. Just
By 3.
divide them, put one slice in 3 different rooms. A half cup of cranberries, divided again. I guess put them over by the lime slices. 1.5 ounces of gin, chilled. Actually, you know what? I'm bypassing some of their recipe because I think they're doing it wrong. So I'm going to say 1.5 ounces of gin. Don't worry about the chill. I prefer aviation gin. That's the choice of Ryan Reynolds.
It
He's
is.
Canadian, so he must
Eh?
be nice. 1.5 ounces of 100% cranberry juice. Do not get the cranberry cocktail or the cran apple. You could try it. Actually, might not be bad, but use the cranberry juice. 3 ounces of Indian tonic water. Is that makes me wonder? Is that racially sensitive?
Sounds
I don't know.
like it could be.
Or
But
if maybe it comes from India. I bet you it comes from India.
Oh.
And then a rosemary sprig, which I thought was an interesting thing for a garnish. So here's how I'm going to change it. So you're going to fill a tall glass about 3/4 of the way with ice. Add 2 of the lime slices and half of the cranberries that you divided and put in a different room before. Add some ice to a shaker and add the gin and the cranberry juice and shake it. That's how you're going to chill this.
Yes.
Shake, then pour into your glass, and then slowly top with the tonic water. So it gets a bloop, 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 bloop. If your tonic water is not bloop, 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 it's flat, get some new tonic water. Garnish with additional lime slice and the cranberries and place a rosemary sprig on the rim of the glass. So you're going to have some flavor. You're going to have... we're taking you to Flavor Town.
And
Flavor
bubbles.
Town.
You're going to have... It's going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty because you have the
Savory,
red cranberries
pretty.
and the green
Yes.
and
It's
stuff
going to
like
tickle
that.
your nose. It's going
It's
to
going to be
tickle.
very seasonal. It's going to tickle your nose, and that rosemary I think will give you just a nice little extra flavor in there too.
A
So,
little
Savory.
extra Thanksgiving type of time.
yeah.
I like
I
that.
After 2,
So what do you
you
got?
drink down 2, and then go sharpen saw.
So,
I'm gonna
Oh
sharpen
my gosh.
my knife for cutting the turkey. Looks like it's just going to be the three of us. Our daughter's going to be sticking around home because her husband's got to works for Best Buy, so he's got to be around that weekend. So I think I'm just going to do a turkey breast on the big green egg,
ooh,
smoke it. Yep.
That's a good idea.
Don't even think I'm going to brine it this year. I think I'm just going to inject that thing full of some spices, some butter, and throw it on.
Let it rip.
Let it
Like
rip.
it.
Rip. Tater
All
chip.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, happy
Hey.
Thanksgiving. Good luck, hunters.
Yes.
Be careful.
Don't-
Be safe.
Be sure it's a deer and not a goat
Yeah.
True. Or a cow.
or a cow.
Farmers
Deer-
don't like that. They get
If
really
you're from
upset.
Or-
Chicago, deer don't go moo.
They don't.
Yes, yeah. Or an
They're a
elk
bitch to drag,
nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Don't shoot the elk.
Don't shoot the
Don't
elk.
shoot a moose.
Don't shoot a moose.
No, they get upset. Don't do that.
Yeah, they don't want to piss off a moose,
No.
man.
Oh yeah, the moose will get upset too. But I mean, I meant just never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going downhill fast.
Yes.
And speaking of giving thanks you guys for listening and watching wherever you are. And if you haven't
at
already
YouTube.
subscribed, please subscribe and subscribe on YouTube. And make sure you're following us on your favorite podcast app. So, again, that's all we got. So, cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
I suppose I
Thanksgiving.
should take a drink.
You don't know the power of this podcast. You must obey me and subscribe. When I first started listening, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Subscribe now. It is useless to resist.